Our speaker today is somebody who has just been to Unity Village a little while ago, so I'm hoping that we'll hear about that. And it's Rita Conrad. Come on up, Rita.
I have a confession to make. I too wrote my talk before the newsletter. And now I need to remember to check in with the inspirational reader. Or I truly will have nothing left to say. But I really want to thank the two of you because you left me this much space. As I was sitting back there, I was leaning going, don't go there, Ruth, don't go there, Ruth, don't go there, Ruth. You're just about there. Good morning.
Good morning.
I wonder what you think of when you hear the word wonder. Because I know when I hear the word wonder, it transports me right back to 1965. 6 p.m., Sunday night, in the living room of my grandparents' home on the south side of Chicago. All of us squished together as tight as we could get in front of the TV screen, scooching up little by little until our parents would yank us back and say, "You're gonna ruin your eyes." And then, from the corner of the screen came the flutter of the wings, and the little fairy danced across the screen, took her wand, and lit the very top of the spire on the castle. Fireworks emitted, and for the next hour, we were immersed in the wonderful world of Disney. Magic lived. That's a magical sound. Thank you. I didn't count on sound effects, but that was a good sound. So that moment reminded me, and the memory of it now reminds me again, that wonder is, just as was written in the newsletter that I'm counting on you haven't read yet, but you will right after this, because I'm not talking about anything in here except this. But wonder is a bridge connecting us to the infinite possibilities within and around us. Those two words, infinite possibilities. I love those words. And it goes on to name wonder as a vital spiritual practice, because in every sunrise, every blooming flower, every act of kindness, wonder beckons us to pause, to be present, and to recognize the sacred in all of existence. Unquote. Wonder is effortless for children. According to Muriel Vermelo, a teacher in the International School of Curitiba, we all come with wonder built in. We're born with wonder. That's how we get along in this world. That's how we learn what this world is. We all have the natural ability to imagine impossible things and marvel at reality, including the world's natural laws. The neuroscience researcher, Catherine Lecourier, wrote, "Wondering is the desire to know the unknown as well as the already known. Before the already known, a child may wonder again and again." And you see kids do this all the time. Will that turn again and again and again? Because wondering consists in, quote, never taking anything for granted. And even that which is already known. But do you know that even with all its magic, even though it came built into us, wonder can disappear from our lives? Disney Corporation surveyed 1,000 parents, and 50% of them said that they saw their children lose their sense of wonder by age 6. Because what happens at age 6? We go to school. And school isn't necessarily about wonderment, unless you have a really great teacher. School is about learn the facts, tell me what you know. So this is not just a part of growing up, but a tragedy that sets us up to be more susceptible to the fears of adulthood. In The Sense of Wonder, Rachel Carson wrote, quote, "If I had influence with the good fairy who is supposed to preside over the christening of all children, I should ask that her gift to each child in the world be a sense of wonder so indestructible that it would last throughout later life as an unfailing antidote against the boredom and disenchantment of later life, the sterile preoccupation with things that are artificial, not real, the alienation from the sources of our strength." Now, some might consider wondering to be silly. Well, the good news is another article came across my email that said, "We have come here to be silly." We're given permission now, we've come here to be silly. That the word silly is evolved from an English word which means lucky or blessed. So the sillier we are, the more blessed we are. Yay! When you allow your silly side to come out, you are affirming a sense of blessedness. And I would say that when we wonder, that is the same thing. We are blessed to be able to wonder. It's a blessing we need to cherish and preserve. And if it's disappeared from your life, reignite it. And that's what I want to focus on today. That's what you left me space for, thank you. Reigniting wonder. In fact, yesterday it came to me that was a better title for this talk, but I knew the programs had already been printed and it was too late to change the program. But that's what I'm inviting you to do, and that's what I want you to remember and take away today. Reignite your wonder. Even if you think you're wondering enough, there's always more room for more wonder in this world. Before it can be reignited, we first need to shift from thinking of wonder as a noun, which you both did, thank you very much, to shifting to wonder as a verb, which is what I'll talk about, as in wondering. Wonder is that feeling of surprise that's mingled with admiration over something beautiful, unapproachable, unexpected, inexplicable, as in seeing something with the wonder of a child. The verb wondering is to question something. I wonder how many times I've said that. Perhaps you'll say it about the future. I wonder if he'll ever outgrow that. Or to be in doubt, I wonder if she got that right. Wondering is not thinking, because thinking is very rational. It usually includes analysis and planning and something very precise. Wondering is not imagining, because imagining is a conscious process. You're actively creating some kind of mental image in your mind, or a scenario, visualizing something that's not currently present or real, envisioning a future event. Wondering is not simply curiosity, although the two are very closely linked, because curiosity includes information seeking and active exploration. If you're curious about something, you go to the internet and Google it. Wondering is a spontaneous reflection or contemplation. It happens in a moment. Just you're thinking, you're wondering about something. And it's usually something that to you at the moment is seemingly mysterious. You're pondering a question or considering a possibility without necessarily considering an outcome. You don't care what the outcome is, you're just wondering. Wondering can seem more ethereal, more magical than any other mind action. Perhaps a little endless, perhaps possibly fruitless. But while it might not seem like it's leading anywhere, it's a valuable process, part of the process of creation. When we create, there's a spark of wondering that's in there. One might consider it the spark that gets creation going. And most importantly, very different from thinking or imagining or curiosity, as Jamie McKenzie wrote in the article, Why Wonder? Quote, wondering infuses our questioning and our thinking with a spiritual aspect. If you are not wondering several times a day, I hope you wonder at this point how you're going to get wondering back. Because there's three things I'd like you to consider in reigniting that wonder in your life. Awareness, I wonder, and creation. If you just remember that, it'll spark something after you leave here. Awareness, I wonder, and creation. So the first part of this one might consider step one is awareness, as Ruth talked about. Awareness of what's around you, and awareness of who or what brought wonder into your life in the first place. For me, it was Walt Disney and Tinkerbell, Alice in Wonderland, my mother, when I was a teenager and was getting into that teenager, oh, life is awful and why do I exist kind of thing. She'd take me outside the backyard. She'd, look at all this. How can you say life is worthless with all this? Look at the wonder of this. She'd take me into nature. Certainly, California was a wondrous place to me. Coming from the cornfields and cold weather of Chicago, wow, California was another planet. Steve Jobs and the iPad, when I was a professional, as soon as I had that first iPad, it opened up a whole different world for me. And certainly in our lives, new thought has brought a wonder to all of us. This thought that I have more to do with my spirituality than I had been taught. That it wasn't something that was going to come from the outside in, but it was going to come from the inside out. And that I was the one that sparked that. This step is important because reminding yourself of that feeling of wonder so that when it happened or it's happening as you're wondering, you know that you're in that spot, that sizzle that electrifies your body, that zeal that Charles Fillmore talked about. That's what wonder feels like. Awareness also not only of who or what brought wonder into your life, but awareness of life surrounding us. We have these huge lavender bushes out in our backyard, and one of my favorite things is to go out on the patio and watch all these bees that just go in and out and around, and it's mesmerizing, and it reminds me of how much life is going on around me that I don't pay attention to necessarily until I stop and pay attention to it. So the newsletter article talked about gazing at the stars, listening to the wind, enjoying the sound of laughter, these things that say, I'm aware of what is around me. And then being aware of the spirit that's around us, because we may see life, but we aren't necessarily tuning into spirit and how it's intertwined with our lives. Celia Miller is a blogger whose mission it is to, quote, help you slow down, seek still moments, and behold God's presence with you in the everyday. She encourages, we all have these different versions of journals that we keep, a gratitude journal, a daily journal. She encourages keeping a beholding journal, recording how the divine is making its presence known in our lives. And it's from the Matthew 28:20 verse that says, behold, I am with you always. So the beholding journal is writing down, okay, you say you're with me always. How are you with me always? How am I aware of how you're with me always? And she says, slow down and recognize Spirit's presence in the day that has just ended by asking yourself some of these type of questions. Where did I notice Spirit's presence with me today? You might say those are in moments of peace or love. The second question, how did I hear Spirit speak to me? What promptings did I have? What whisperings of ideas came to me? What did I carry with me today that fueled wonder? Those moments of joy and laughter, watching the bees on the lavender. And what do I need to release that's hindering wonder in my life? Moments of regret I had today, of fear, of judgment, of dislike of someone. It's hard to believe in the possible to notice the spirit in our lives when we're weighed down with that negativity. So that's awareness. All of that is awareness. Everything of it going around you, life, spirit, all of that. Because then step 2 is to allow the words, I wonder, to float freely through your mind and not stop whatever happens next. because many of us start with the, I wonder, and it's like, it's no reason to wonder. It's pointless to wonder, it's useless. Let it go. Let wonder play out. Even when in meditation and you're trying to get all the other words out of your mind, let I wonder float through. And welcome those two words. I stand here today doing a Sunday talk because one of the first times I came to this church, I saw one of you get up and give a Sunday talk. And then I sat in the back and thought, I wonder how you get to do that. And a few months later, that first talk just tumbled right off the end of my fingers as I was trying to do something else. And that was Spirit saying, you asked, here's the answer. Because wondering is, to me, a form of prayer. It is just throwing out to the universe saying, I don't have to know now, but I am wondering. I've wondered about things like, how can I contribute more to the causes I love without going out and getting another job and bringing in more money? I wonder how I can contribute to world peace. What's my part in that? As I said, wondering for me is like prayer and meditation. It is that connection to the divine, the bridge to the infinite possibilities, as the newsletter reminded us. I wonder, two simple words, just let them float. Because the third step, and the last one, is to listen with fascination what comes back. Recognize when wondering is actually answered, and creation of a new aspect of your life has begun. Divine ideas and possibilities begin popping in your mind, and sometimes they come around a few more times, and that's when you know that's probably the answer of something that you need to create in your life. Don't judge or analyze them yet, just let wondering play out. Consider this your idea percolation. And gradually, two of those ideas are going to start to settle, and you're going to move into imagination, you're going to move into curiosity, and all those other things that are very similar to wondering. From the chaos of not knowing what to do, through wondering, there comes the light of divine ideas and possibilities. With faith, we step into that idea. Our imagination begins to form the steps to bring that idea into substance, and which requires that we let go of all our personal desires and surrender to wherever divine is now taking us, using what we know and accepting and embracing that we are an expression of that divine idea. So here's my latest wondering that I'll share with you in conclusion as I wrap this up. So as Brian said, I've been to Unity Village, and my first thought when I stepped on that campus was, first of all, the wonder of, oh my goodness, it is amazing. It's a beautiful place. It's a peaceful place. It is everything you might have thought it was. And my first thought was, Walt Disney got it wrong. Disneyland isn't the happiest place on earth. Unity Village is. And then my second thought was, I wonder what Walt Disney and Myrtle and Charles Fillmore have in common. And wouldn't you know, to my surprise, in 1922, Walt Disney had his first school of animation in Kansas City, the Laugh-O-Rama. And where it was located was about 2.5 miles from where the Unity School of Christianity was. 2.5 miles in 1922. Wow. Cars could only go 28 miles an hour. So, even if you drove, it was 5 minutes. 5 minutes. These people that have had this long range effect on all of our lives were right there in Kansas City, all together. Makes you wonder what's in the water in Kansas City. But for me, it was a realization of noticing how all of our lives are intertwined, and we don't necessarily know it at the moment. We may find it out later. How we all orbit around each other. How each of us is expressing our greatness in different ways, and the ripple effect that that has on the world. All because they all started to wonder. I wonder how I could share how I've been cured. I wonder what would happen if we had cartoons. For me, that's why I honor my wondering, because I know it does indeed lead to the gratitude of the wonder of it all, with wonder as a noun, and wonder as a verb. Wondering leads me to creating my life experience in a uniquely fulfilling way. It's important to live in the noun of wonder, in the awe of the magnificence with gratitude, and it's equally important to live in the verb of wondering. That's curiosity, questioning. That is the spark of the power of creation. It's not just idle daydreaming or silliness, but I wonder what's the harm if it is. Wondering is the blessing of that connection with the divine mind. One way to behold that divine idea is flowing through us in every minute. So I invite you today to go out onto your patio, into your backyard, or some other beautiful spot where you can take a deep breath and be in awareness of the wonder that was brought into your life and the wonder that's now with you as you feel the presence of the divine. And then close your eyes and breathe into wondering. Beginning creation of things you've yet to think of or imagine or be curious about. Just wonder. That's the message I share today, and send from my heart to yours. Reignite your wonder.